Hello and welcome to the Progcast. This is episode 9. I'm joined by
Yep.
my co-hosts, Jaxon
Uh-huh.
and Zane.
Yeah.
So we
And
have some things to
we
talk
got a lot
about
to talk
today.
about
We
today.
we have a very loaded
Yeah.
episode, if you will. I
So-
kind of have a question.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna work, but
Right.
I have a question. I can't. It was hard for me to word it, so I haven't told either of you guys
All right.
it
Yeah.
yet.
I was
But
trying to.
Improv.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
improv.
thinking about like how I like analyze music and albums versus how I analyze movies. And what kind of got to, which is why if you were following my album of the year, I just gave a bunch of things 10 out of 10 scores. But I was thinking about like, well, really the quality of an album doesn't really go down in my mind. It's just I've listened to it too much that it kind of loses the appeal.
Right.
So I kind of started considering it as more of like a finish, like I finished with it, and just because I don't enjoy it as much anymore doesn't mean I
it's
would lower
bad.
the
Yeah,
score.
Yeah. It's really
Which,
tough.
get
I don't
you.
know how you guys think about that.
It's really
So-
tough.
No, I get that. I've definitely
Yeah.
find it interesting. Like,
Mhm.
it's the way I rate music and stuff is way different from movies. Cause like, not that I know a lot about either, but like when I watch a movie, I feel like there's certain things I can look out for that I'm like, oh, do I like that? Do I like the way they do this? But music, it's so simple for. I'm just like, do I like how it sounds?
Yeah.
How much do I like how
Yeah.
it sounds?
I don't. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about you guys are much more familiar with like movie ratings.
Yeah.
Like, what you can notice in movies. Albums are a lot more subtle with things like production and whatnot. But
Yeah, for sure.
As like in general, it usually just comes down to taste for music.
I think there's certain things with a movie that no matter who you are, you have to be like, oh yeah, okay, they did that well. But with music, it's like there is a bit of that, but it's also mostly like just your opinion. You're like, yeah, I think this sounds good. This is just my personal taste.
And even though I wouldn't, I like as a listening experience, like for example, even the first time I listened to Dark Side of the Moon and like those first couple of weeks I had with it, I was like, damn, this is a masterpiece. But now I wouldn't get the same amount of enjoyment from it. But that doesn't really mean the album, like I like it less in my head. It's just I've listened to it too
Right.
much that like
Yeah.
it's not as interesting to me anymore. But that it doesn't make it.
Make
it
it
doesn't.
worse.
Everything goes down.
It's
So
really
that's-
tough.
I think the
that's
same.
how I
Like
think about it.
there are movies that the first time I watch it, like when I finish that first viewing, I'm like, oh yeah, that was 5 stars. But there's also albums where like it's rare that I would give an album like a 10 out of 10 on the first time because I
Yeah.
feel like it has to grow on me more.
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, how
Yeah.
how different it is. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that. And I was like, that's kind of it's really different.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah, for
different
sure.
thing.
How much it changes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't usually, like, all of my ratings are literally just based off of how much I enjoy things, so things will definitely change over time with both taste and, like, how much I've listened or watched something or consumed the media.
So
Yeah, I
you
get
would
that.
you would like drop the rating.
Yeah,
as your
I would
enjoyment
drop
of it.
a rating or, like, maybe even make it higher depending on, like, how much I listen to it.
Yeah,
definitely
yeah, I
yeah.
agree with
Good
making
scores.
it higher.
Yeah, back
I just
in, like,
making
yeah.
it lower because it doesn't appeal to me anymore. It doesn't make sense to me.
It does.
I guess.
I think
Yeah.
no. It's for me. I definitely I do it. Like back in like summer of 2019, I would definitely considered Revolver by the Beatles a 10 out of 10 album. But I've listened to the album so much. I listened to it so much back then that it just lost a lot of like.
Yeah,
Its,
but like for me, that doesn't mean I would
Yeah.
lower the score. Like I'm still gonna keep it at 10 out of 10. It's just I see it more, I guess, as like I conquered the album or I'm like finished with it.
Yeah, it's
and
one
I had a
of-
really
yeah.
good time with it.
It's one of those things where it's for me. It's more like how much like my ratings are entirely based off of how much I enjoy it, not the actual quality of the album.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because the
Yeah.
quality of Revolver did not change, not in the slightest.
Just your
But
Yeah.
enjoyment. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
but how much I
Good way to
enjoyed
think
it
about
did.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
get that. For me though,
Yeah,
like
it.
I find it
Oh, yeah,
hard to
sorry, you
like
go.
keep track of like when you start to add more and more albums to your like, library. It's like
Right.
you have to keep track of so many, and like, are these scores accurate
Yeah.
still?
Are they actually accurate? Yeah.
That's why.
Which
I
is
think just keeping it 10 with albums is much easier instead of keeping it
Yeah.
like 20. 20
I
was just
try.
too much for me. I was like, this is like
Mhm.
just annoying.
I try to look at like how much I enjoyed it at like the peak of how much I was listening to it. So not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
not the first
exactly.
time, not the last time, but like when I was in kind of the middle there,
Yeah.
I feel like if
And
you
also,
are,
I wanna point out, it's not like I've listened to the album and I'm recognizing like flaws with it. It's just like I don't enjoy the songs as much
yeah, because
anymore. But
they're
it's
Yeah,
not because of the
predictable.
songs
They
I've
become
noticed anything worse about the
yeah,
songs.
they just
Yeah,
become
exactly.
predictable. Right.
Like I know every lyric on like Revolver, so
Yeah.
like it's kind of
There's
I've
once you
conquered
kind
it,
of stop discovering everything, it's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. The best music is the stuff where you like keep discovering things in the like
Yeah.
Yeah, but even so, like even to that extent, like something like The Wall, that took so long for me to get tired of it. But eventually I did, because like I just listened to it so many times. And
Yeah, it
then
happens.
it's like interesting.
Yeah, one thing that definitely changed for me, like when like I was like some music that I was listening to got kind of boring, right? And you search for things that are like kind of like less like on the surface. And I think one thing that changed it a lot was like turning up the music, because there was so much more that you could hear
Yeah.
when you turn up the music.
Listening
It
to
made
it on
me
low volume is definitely.
yeah, listening to music on low volume, you don't really get as much. Like
No.
it's
Right.
good for casual
Okay, this is
listening.
this is a very broad question.
Yeah, it's very
So
broad.
I kind
That's
of kind of
good
just
places.
got off the rails.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
I
it's
just didn't know
okay.
how to formulate it properly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So,
It's
kind of hard.
complicated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
good.
Are we good with that?
Yeah.
I'm good.
It's
Kind of just
interesting.
you kind of just blocked my statement. Wow.
I'm sorry.
That
It's
shit was
just
fucked up.
it's not really about turning up the. It's not what I had in mind. For
Yeah,
the
well, I
question.
mean, we can still talk about things. It's more of a. I feel like
Sure.
it's
All
more of a
right.
general
Give me
discussion,
your
right?
statement then.
Yeah,
Give me
but
your
I feel
statement.
like turning up the music is just one of those things, like you can hear
I
a lot
agree.
more. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
That's
Yeah.
true.
All right, I guess we can move
a good
on.
take.
We have a recent
That's a
segment.
good.
We
So
have
we have a
Mhm.
recent segment.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You're introducing it. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, we got a recent segment. So so just a few days ago, as at the time of recording this, maybe 3 days ago, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard released their brand new album LW, and we just like to talk about that briefly.
Yeah,
'Cause
we
we all
talked
heard it,
about
so.
we talked about the
Yeah.
first one, right? We talked about
Yeah,
KG a little while ago.
Yeah.
And how before we do those things where only two of us have seen it, so the other one's gonna mute. No, we've all heard it.
We've all heard it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was okay, especially just because I wanna kind of take the floor, but like
Yeah.
I've been
You go ahead.
if you've been following my album of the year, I've been binging King Gizzard. I've
Yeah, I
re-listened to
saw.
all the ones I did
Mhm.
before. I've listened to like 13 now, and this is by far my least favorite out of any of the ones I've listened to. This was so underwhelming and disappointing.
Yeah.
Such a disappointing route for the band to go.
Mhm.
I've only listened to it once, which I
same.
hate to do, but I had a really busy week, so like I can't. My opinions on it might change, but I just found it so like boring especially compared to KG. KG had
it's
so
super
many
dull.
songs that were like really different,
Yeah.
like from each other.
KG felt like kind of the ultimate Gizzard album, I guess. It was predictable in that sense, but also like it was very very broad in terms of genre. And this
Yeah.
is just one big, annoying, uninteresting song that I just did not care about the whole way through.
It blends into itself a lot.
I think the
'cause
only
it's just kind of the same.
the
style.
only track that stands out is the first one. I think it's like the only one that kind of differs from the theme, because it has like a little clavichord.
I don't
Yeah, it's
remember
a weird,
anymore.
weird way to start it. I like the closer too, but like I didn't
That was
love
good.
it or anything.
The closer was
just, like,
pretty good. I was actually like everyone was talking about how it was like some really fucking good track when I hadn't listened to it. It kind of was underwhelming because it was just 8 minutes, didn't really go anywhere. It was just like
yeah, I'm not saying it's like a great song, and honestly, none of these songs are even close to anything on KG.
Yeah.
No,
But
yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
it was something at least. It was
LW.
like,
Yeah.
Like KG had like so many different ones. Like there was Honey, Automation. What was the one that I really liked? Intrasport.
Yeah,
They're all those three
Intrasport
are
was
so different in
the
sound.
closer
But then
too, the Hungry
Yeah.
Wolf of
these,
Fate or
yeah,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. So
these
there's so
ones
much
were all just like
variation.
the same. They
Mhm.
sounded
These
very,
ones,
very
this was
similar.
all just automation the whole way
Right.
through.
Yeah.
It was just
Yeah. It's just automation
Which,
or
you know,
minimum brain
one
size or
automation
something.
isn't bad.
Yeah.
But like
Nothing. Yeah. Nothing
it's
bad
not
about
even-
automation at all because that's a good song. But,
9
like,
of them in a row is like
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
hearing
it's
that.
just not interesting to hear it over and over
Yeah,
again.
it just
Mhm.
sounds so like it just blends in. I couldn't tell the
Yeah.
difference.
I was so intensely bored listening to
Mhm.
this album.
I had to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was looking through.
no.
I was looking through the track listing like occasionally while I was listening
just
to
to
it.
check
and I'm
which
like,
one you were on.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, this is the same song, or it's like, oh shit, I like there's another song between the last time
Yeah.
I checked and the first time I checked.
I don't know what happened with
And
Spotify, but I guess I accidentally pressed something. But when I got to, what's the second last? When I got to See Me, I was expecting to go to the last one, but it went back to Ataraxia for some reason. So I was like, did they put the same song on? Like, are they just doing the exact same thing on this album?
Yeah, it is
But-
just the whole thing is just so samey.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
help that they did in kind of classic Gizzard fashion, I guess. They did it like each song leads into the other, which is I like it when they
Yeah.
do that. But each song is so similar, you just
Right.
start to
that-
get like
yeah, it
you
just
start to like even if I like closed the browser, I wouldn't even know what song I was on.
right.
Because
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah,
so
for sure.
it's the same way I feel
When
about
you-
what's the other one they
Mhm.
did with the Mild High Club? It's the same way I feel about that album.
Yeah, yeah.
That album was also pretty dull.
Sketches definitely blended into each other a lot. I mean, like I like.
I know you
like-
haven't seen that Callum, or you
Yeah.
haven't listened to that album.
Yeah,
No, these are my
Similar.
only 2 gizzards that I've heard.
yeah.
So
It's just
I
like,
might get to the rest
yeah,
eventually.
but
I feel
it
like
has a similar.
yeah. In my opinion, I don't even think the songs are that bad. Like on their own, I think they're like okay. You know, like
There's
I don't
just
think
so much.
I don't think they're
weird
shitty
songs.
songs. I don't think they're shitty songs in the
I
slightest.
agree.
But
Yeah, I don't think any of
yeah.
the songs are really. Well, maybe a few of them are kind
Yeah.
of bad, but most of them are just fine. It's just they're.
yeah, they just
Listening to
they
them in
are
a vacuum
literally yeah. It's like it's like AC/DC. They all sound the same.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah, I really
Because I really, really liked KG, so I guess
Yeah.
maybe it's my fault for
Yeah,
hoping
your
that this
rating
would
has
just be
gone up.
more KG.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
Just everyone knows. Just rating's gone up since
Yeah.
we.
Yeah, it grew on me a lot. 'Cause- But
I still
like,
think it's
I
like
don't
not
know.
that good, but it's so much better than
yeah
like
Mhm.
so much better than LW.
yeah LW.
Should we give ratings for this one, or should we just
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
it as
Yeah,
a?
we'll do it.
Yeah, this album stunk. 4 out of 10.
hmm
I give it like a 5.5.
Yeah,
out of
I
10.
gave it a 5.5. I was thinking about giving it a 6, like because just based on the songs, but I'm like, holy fuck, it is
I'll
just
never
draining.
listen to this again.
It's
I just
draining.
I
do
might
not
give it
care.
one more just to.
I'll
flush
give
out
it.
my thoughts
I'll give
on
it
it,
one
but-
more once I go through the catalog again. But like, man,
I'm not going to. I'm not listening to it again.
Man, it was. It was.
I really hate it.
It's probably.
Especially seeing what they're capable of. It's so disappointing
Yeah.
that they just chose to do like the same song over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one. It's like definitely at the bottom of King Gizzard albums, like down there with like 12 Bar Brews or Willoughby's Beach. Which both,
Yeah.
both of those.
I agree. For me,
Yeah.
it's in second place out of 2.
Mhm. Yeah, the first three
last
out.
place.
Okay, I'm gonna get ahead of myself. I don't want. I was almost just gonna go on a tangent about their first few albums and like EPs.
We'll talk about Gizzard.
Someday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk about Gizzard soon. But
But,
yeah, basically it's just all samey and shit, you know.
Yeah.
And such like a diverse catalog as well. Such a
Yeah.
diverse catalog, and this is in this like
It's just an
Two-
uninteresting entry. But
yeah
yeah.
the first one KG was like fine, you know. I liked it. It was
Me
very
too.
it was very unique. There was so much going on, right? It was a little formulaic because it was all just like the gimmick of the microtones and whatnot. But like they did do some variation with it. LW
Yeah.
is literally
Oh yeah, this is another like microtone one.
Yeah.
It's just that even makes it more dull just because it's
Mhm.
following KG.
yeah
I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about it anymore.
yeah
I really hate
Too
it.
upsetting.
it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a real shame.
Do you want to move on to
honestly.
the main segment? Are we good?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Technically, I picked this one, these
Yeah,
movies. So
technically.
I'll,
We kind of We kind of group decided
Yeah.
to do the trilogy.
But I can. Do you want me to introduce him?
Right.
Because you're the one that's most familiar with him, I guess.
Yeah, is it okay if I introduce it?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah.
All right. So, we're talking about a trilogy,
Mhm.
from, I think, what is probably my favorite director right now. We are talking about the classic, Man with No Name trilogy, or Dollars trilogy by Sergio Leone, which I very much love. Maybe not. I'm not. Maybe not like totally objectively, but I definitely have like a soft spot for him as a director, just
Mhm.
because his later work especially is really great. But yeah,
Right.
let's talk about the trilogy.
Yeah.
Should we start with the first one? I like talk about it one by one.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
to
we
make
can
it easy?
we can start
All
with
right.
the first one.
Mhm.
First one, A Fistful of Dollars, came out 1964, right? I think.
Right.
Yeah, 64.
Yeah,
Yeah.
64.
It was the first.
1964.
One thing I think is interesting is that throughout these three movies, you can definitely see him develop his style as a director.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can
You can
definitely
see
see
him
I
it.
noticed
develop.
that a lot. Like the first one was
Uh-huh.
just kind of like, all right,
Yeah.
it happened, it came and went.
Uh-huh.
But then as they went on, they became bigger in like scale, and they were just way
Yeah.
more
And more
engaging.
and like way more impressive and well executed.
Yeah. And before we
Especially
yeah. And before we go on, spoilers.
Oh
Kind of
yeah.
a given.
Spoilers.
Kind of a given, but spoilers,
for the
yeah.
trilogy.
Yeah.
Especially Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. You gotta go into that movie blind. So if you haven't seen it, just there'll be time codes probably. I forgot to do it
Yeah.
last time, but I'll do it this time.
It's all good. But yeah, this one was kind of like for me. It was still on like the good side of the spectrum, but it wasn't like super,
Yeah,
amazing. I definitely
Yeah,
think it's the worst of the three.
I agree. It's pretty choppy, and you can tell it's his. I guess you can tell it's his kind of.
Yeah.
It's his first of his Western
Yeah.
style. You can tell.
Right, yeah.
Kind of feels like it was less of a direction and more just like, hey, let's go film in the desert, see what happens. I know that's not what happened, but that's the vibe I get.
I think it's pretty
Yeah.
tight, honestly, as a story, though. I think
Yeah.
it's extremely. It's really. It's like. It's super short. It's like I don't think there's really any fat in it at all. It's a
Mhm.
very tight movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the protagonist, I don't know what to call him, like Clint. I guess
You
let's
can
call him
just
Clint
call him
Eastwood.
Clint
Yeah,
Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood. Or just
But-
the man with no name,
Even from the first movie, that's such a like addicting character, just because the charisma that he has, is just so like infectious. So
He's
he's definitely the best part of them for me.
Yeah, and I really like his every time he gets, the Indian barkeeper or whatever. He's no Tuco, but he's they have a fun dynamic, those two.
Yeah,
They have
they do.
they have an entertaining dynamic.
It's
Yeah.
not, I don't think it was like explored too much, but that's also because the movie was really short. But it is
Yeah,
fun while it's there.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not.
I
I don't
like-
think it's a short movie.
It's
An hour
it's
40,
pretty
it's pretty
tight.
short.
In terms of
Yeah.
a movie, there's
Well, no, it's
really
average.
not-
It's average movie length. It's not a short movie. It's average movie length.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess.
yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
feature
What else?
length. It's a little over feature length, but
Mhm.
still, it's very like there's not a lot of fat in it as a
Yeah,
movie. It's very.
Definitely. It's very.
I want to take you guys on a little history lesson,
Yeah,
Let's go.
Give it
Because-
to me.
because I know a lot about this. But basically, before this movie came out, I mean, because this is the godfather of spaghetti westerns, A Fistful of
Right.
Dollars in this trilogy in general. But before this came out, westerns were very like, well, they were very West, they were very Western,
Mhm.
as in, like American. They were very
Oh,
very
finally.
early black and white protagonists, and what I kind of like about this is that, and this is why these movies weren't really liked overseas, because
Uh-huh.
it features characters who are really just motivated by greed and their own self-interest.
Yeah, like
which is
especially in the first
more
one,
interesting.
he's a good protagonist, but I definitely wouldn't say he's like a stand-up guy. Like he doesn't do it for
It's pretty
justice.
great.
He's like, pay
It's
me.
pretty great.
Yeah.
It's pretty great, and yeah, and later, like, the characters are almost irredeemable in some of the later movies. Like they're really just doing it just to just for money,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
interesting. And people didn't like it. It's like, of course, it's
But it's
very
more realistic. It's less like an
yeah,
idealized
yeah,
version
Mhm.
of stuff. It's like an actual.
yeah. Like they're
Yeah,
not perfect
it's
heroes at all.
honest. Yeah.
He
It
just
takes
wants
you
to
in.
get as much
I
money
think
as
that
possible.
Yeah.
absorbs you into it more because like if you watch something where the protagonist is just like the poster child for like being a good person, it's like people aren't really like that. I'd like to believe they are, but that's just not how it is. So like
Yeah,
you're more
Mhm.
and it
engaged when
portrays
the protagonist is
westerns
more
in a
realistic.
more.
Right.
It
Yeah.
makes them more fun to watch because they're more unpredictable, I
The
guess.
Wild
Like,
West, the
and
Wild West was not a
yeah,
fun place to live, so it's
Yeah.
like good to
yeah.
have realistic protagonists.
There are some things that are definitely not so great. Like the some of the scenes are very over the top, which
Yeah.
if you're into the movie, and again, this movie is kind of a guilty pleasure for me, I guess, because I just think it's kind of funny. But like the especially the scene, there are like two scenes that really stick out in terms of being a little bit over the top. Like there's that scene where all the horses are meeting and like and then there's like the guy with the machine gun and he just starts like shooting everybody and like
Yeah, and
there's
he's
no
like
blood or
losing his
anything. They're
shit.
all just like falling over
Honestly,
dramatically.
that was one of the things that bothered me the most about these movies. How like when people get shot, nobody like looks like they got shot. They just kind of go like,
Mhm.
ugh, and they just like
It gets
wave their
the
arms out
production
and
gets
fall
better as
backwards.
it goes along.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah, but
later
like
movies definitely have
especially
better
in the
blood.
first one, it's like you basically the way guns work, especially in the first one, is you just have to point it at someone's general direction and they'll just kind of like die. Like they'll just like wave their
Yeah,
arms
it's
out and
very
die.
cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always about like an excellent shooter who just
Hmm.
and like if it like really I I I I don't really care that like
Yeah.
the gun whatever aren't realistic
Yeah,
because
no, I'm
it
just saying
doesn't really matter to
kind
me.
of funny that like you forget it later
Yeah.
when the other ones have more going on, but like especially the first one, it's a little bit,
Yeah, I find it more funny if anything.
Yeah.
And there's also the
Mhm.
scene where they burn the house and like they're all shooting the guys as they come out surrendering.
Yeah,
Like
that was
that
kind of
scene is
ridiculous.
very over the top.
Uh-huh.
But
But
it does make them more intimidating, I guess.
yeah,
It does portray
although
them
the
in a very.
villain in that one was definitely just kind of like, I'm a bad guy, you know, like he didn't really have much going on.
Yeah.
He's just kind of, I guess the same thing in that he's motivated by
It's
greed,
balanced
but
out because like everybody else is just like an asshole in the movie. Like everybody else in these movies are also just assholes. So
yeah.
it kind of balances out the over the top nature of the
Yeah.
villains.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. This one
Yeah,
didn't do a lot for me. It was good, but
Yeah.
but,
yeah,
like,
no, it's definitely. I mean, objectively, it's the weakest out of all three of these.
yeah,
You can tell it
Uh-huh.
has like the least amount of money in it.
mhm,
Yeah.
for
You
sure.
know,
The budget
Yeah.
shows.
Mhm.
yeah, still though, the acting is pretty good. Clint Eastwood kind of he does play the same like they kind of filmed all of these. Well, not together, but you know, like
Really close. They came out like
Clint
one
Eastwood
after the
just
other,
didn't
right?
care, and he just wanted to wear the same poncho in each movie, which is why
Yeah.
there's so much confusion over like the universe of the films.
Honestly, like
Mhm.
if you ignore the fact that there are some different people that look the same, it doesn't really affect the story if you just tell yourself that it's continuation of the same guy's like story. Like
Yeah,
really not that
for
much
sure.
changes. Which I
Yeah,
kind
you can
of
definitely
liked.
say Fistful of Dollars and For a Few Dollars More are loosely connected.
Yeah.
You could
Yeah.
The third one is less because it's like now he
yeah,
knows
because
these people.
it has fucking Lee Van Cleef or whatever
Yeah, as
in
a
it,
villain.
and he's the old guy in the second one.
But
So,
even in unless I'm wrong, even in Fistful of Dollars and the second one, wasn't the villain play the same guy or am I blind?
Fistful of no, they're played by different people. He is
Oh.
in the movie briefly though. The villain from the
Mhm.
first movie is in the second movie briefly.
Oh, I
as a
thought he
sheriff.
was. Huh.
No,
Well,
he's
yeah,
not
you
the
could definitely see those two as like pretty connect. Like, there's nothing that really changes if you just pretend that they're a
Hold on.
sequel.
Is he? Oh, I gotta look. I don't think he is.
Yeah, I
He
have no
might
idea, but I
Oh,
could have
is he?
sworn. What's his name?
Oh, he is. Okay, yeah, he is.
Oh, he is. Okay.
I didn't think he was. I actually
Yeah,
didn't think he was.
John Maria. I don't know how to pronounce his
John
name.
Maria. That's
Yeah, he's the
definitely
same
Bush.
guy. He's
Yeah.
El Indio, and also he's Ro. What was his name?
Romeo. Ramon.
Ramon. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the second movie though, let's talk about that one.
Oh wait,
I
should we
think-
rate the first one?
Yeah.
Well, we can do it at the end.
No,
Alright.
no. I mean,
You
yeah.
want to do it now?
actually,
Okay.
I think
Well, I
it
like
gives
it a
us-
lot.
Yeah.
It's definitely a guilty pleasure movie for me, but I do really enjoy it. So I give it a 4 out of 5.
Mhm.
I give it a 3 out
Yeah.
of 5.
I'll be honest, I was a bit intimidated by Jackson's rating when I first watched it. And me and him watched it together. So I was like,
Yeah,
I
we
felt
watched
sort
all
of
3 of
pressured to do a 4.
You
out of
really
5.
shouldn't.
Yeah, I really shouldn't have. I think it's more of a 3.5 personally.
I
Yeah,
stand
that's-
strong by
yeah.
my Akira rating. So you shouldn't be intimidated by anything.
Yeah, I know that.
It's definitely a guilty pleasure type of movie for me. Like I don't think it's objectively great or anything. There's definitely a lot of flaws. But the second one
So-
is a lot less flawed, I think. I think it's actually a
Yeah.
pretty solid movie.
Yeah, yeah, I like that one
Yeah.
too.
Time for number 2. Time for
All right,
number
well,
2.
let's move on to the third one.
Wait, what?
Wait.
Yeah, let's
I
not.
didn't
Let's
brush
not.
it
Let's
off.
not do
Let's
that.
keep talking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the third one is a lot is longer.
Wait, we're going on a third one? I was-
no,
No. Yeah.
the second
We're
one is
struggling.
longer and kind of more dense, and you can see him. He's kind of trying harder. The villain isn't just like an overacted buffoon. He's like like an actual guy with a past.
He's more
and, like,
toned down, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he feels and he genuinely feels a lot more intimidating because he's
Yeah.
actually cunning and he knows what he's fucking doing, which makes him scarier.
Yeah, instead of Ramon, who just kind of like
He's
goofed his
very
way through everything. Yeah, but this guy feels more.
Indio is definitely he's more frightening because, and I guess you can see the evolution because the bad in the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is like the final evolution of that. He's just like an extremely cunning and manipulative
evil guy.
person.
Yeah, I did think the villain's backstory in this one was a little weird. It's just like he came into this house, killed this girl's boyfriend, and then like assaulted her. She killed
Yeah.
herself, and then he like acted like
Yeah,
she was like a long lost lover. Like he
Yeah.
kept this lock in her. It's like, dude, you
Well,
killed her basically.
Like that's just because he's a weirdo.
Yeah,
That's just 'cause
yeah.
That is weird as
Think
fuck,
about
dude. I swear. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
did not understand the whole backstory thing at all.
basically he rapes
Right.
the old guy's sister, and that's and then it's revealed that it's actually a revenge story, which
Yeah,
the
I
first
thought that
time
was
I
cool.
saw it, I thought it was a weak twist, but the second time I thought it actually made a lot of sense and it worked.
And I
pretty
like
well.
how it wasn't really revenge for the protagonist; it was revenge for the deuteragonist, because it's kind
Yeah.
of like the man with no name is definitely
The Wateragras?
Yeah.
deuteragonist. Let me
What
look
the
up the
fu-
definition so I can explain what that means.
Yeah, Clint
Deuteragonist.
Eastwood is kind of. I mean, he's just trying to.
The
He's just kind of.
shit-wagonist.
He's more of a secondary character, I guess, because the
It
real
means
story.
the deuteragonist or secondary main character is the
Alright,
second most important character
that's
after the
correct.
protagonist.
Gotcha.
Just so you know.
Thank you.
But yeah,
Okay.
I definitely think adding him into it helped it a lot. Gave like the
Yeah.
chemistry between him and Clint Eastwood
Yeah,
was
they-
really good.
Mhm.
It's the same in the third movie as well, but
Alright, let's.
they whenever he's paired with someone, they always have excellent chemistry.
Yeah.
That's
They work
also
really
why I
well.
feel like the first one was the weakest because it was just him kind of holding everything up on his own, and it didn't really
Right.
work really well
Yeah,
because
I get
he's typically the silent, like he's a quiet character. So when he doesn't have anyone playing off him, he just kind of does stuff. He
He
doesn't
does
really
have the
talk.
barkeeper. He does have the
Yeah.
barkeeper, but I
It's
agree.
limited,
Like there's
yeah.
less of him in the barkeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but him and Cole Douglas, Colonel Douglas Mortimer. They
yeah.
have pretty good. Just the story's pretty good. I do think one thing I do have like one really major complaint is that the music really is not as good as in the first one. The music in the first one was really really well utilized, and especially in that, just in the whole movie really. And this one really, it's only like the clock theme that's pretty good, and like how the
Yeah.
music over.
I found they used it a little too much, but it was still a good theme. Like for
And it was cool. I really like how Ennio Morricone was able to like make it play into the like make his very dramatic Western theme play into like the little melody. Like that was cool. That was a cool idea. But yeah,
Also-
other than that, it's not well utilized.
Yeah.
Lee Van Cleef is like the perfect casting choice for the both characters he played. He's so
I think he's
just
even
like,
better as the bad. Like
For
his
sure.
portrayal of the bad is.
but there's also
iconic.
something about him in the second one where he's just like, I don't know, definitely a good casting choice, and also
Feels-
really good at playing off the main character.
He feels
Yeah.
much. It's cool to have like a more mature assassin, I guess. Like being
less
like,
reckless
someone who
than
can
Clint
seriously
Eastwood.
rival him.
hmm
That
Yeah.
was interesting.
You get the sense that in a shootout it would be like pretty much equal. Like they don't not.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the protagonist is like way better than him. They feel like actual rivals, which I really liked.
And there's that scene where he literally like manipulates Clint Eastwood into telling the group to go one way, and then
Yeah.
he knew Clint would say to go the other way. Like seeing him trump Clint Eastwood's character like that was like it was interesting to have someone that was like actually smarter than him.
Yeah.
And was like knew
It's nice
more.
not having like a perfectly infallible protagonist who can't make any mistakes. Like he screws up sometimes, and
No,
it's
he's not really in any of the movies.
Mhm.
I do think another thing with this movie is that it kind of uses the shell of the other movie to just tell like a more well fleshed out story, but it's kind of the same thing, aside from the fact that I mean this time it's just instead of just Clint, it's Clint and someone else. They join a group, and then the group finds out that they're actually just in it for the money, and then they
Yeah.
get tortured, and then they come back and defeat everyone in the group. Like it's
the
kind of the
first
same.
two were really like they were similar. They're basically the exact same
Dollar.
It uses the
plot.
skeleton, I
Yeah.
would say,
Mhm.
a little bit, but that's okay. I was fine with it, especially the second time around. It didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, I like this one more for sure.
Yeah, I prefer this one to the first
I
one.
think it's pretty great.
What would you guys give it?
Your honest opinions, you funny?
Yeah,
You can go
no,
first.
I'd keep it a 4. I'd keep it a 4.
I'm giving this
Yeah.
one a 3 out of 5.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
the
giving
No,
it a
3.5.
Yeah.
Sorry, 3.5.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. I really like this one. I think this is genuinely pretty solid movie.
Mm-hmm.
6.
Now
Now
let's
the-
talk about the masterpiece.
This is the
Now let's
main-
talk about
Kino.
that.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, we haven't talked about the dubbing. We have not.
Oh, the
talked about
dubbing
Oh,
is
yeah, the
shit.
dubbing.
Oh my god.
That's
I'm okay with it just because it
Mhm.
was made like 50 years ago. so
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
I'm
can
okay
forgive
with
it because it was so long, but it took me out a couple times for all three.
Yeah.
Just because like somebody's lips will be
Yeah.
doing one thing and they're saying something else, and it's not
Especially
even
because
like
when you watch the extended cut, which is the one that's most commercially available, the
Yeah, I
extended
watched it.
scene had really, really bad dubbing.
Yeah,
and like I don't fault the movie for it just because it's not part of the actual movie, but they have
it's
the worst.
because they originally did it in Italian, so it's like they're not only saying different words, they're
Yeah,
speaking a
well,
totally different
here's a
language.
funny thing. Here's a funny thing, right? Because I know about what happened on the set. Basically, Socio just got a bunch of actors, and he just told them to speak their natural language, and then he would just dub it over in post. So a lot of the people in the movie aren't even speaking English; they're like speaking
Yeah,
Italian.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
you can tell for sure.
So he just dubbed it over, and it's
kind of a
like
vibe.
I think it's kind of funny, honestly.
I
but-
think
I think it would have
Yeah.
been interesting to see like a version of it where everybody's still talking to each other, but they're all speaking their own language and just have subtitles. Like, I think it'd be
Well,
interesting to not have
Yeah.
the.
America. It
Yeah,
looks like it
it's-
takes place in like Italy or something.
Yeah.
With all these like vistas.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely supposed to be based in
Yeah.
19th century America.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
and
year
I
was
like
the Wild West even? Like what?
like
Mid
uh,
19th century, like
Hmm.
1840, 18 to like
yeah, because it
1870 or
takes place
something.
during the Confederate War, right?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
like before the Industrial Revolution.
Such a weird period of history. Eh? It's so like
Yeah.
distinct.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
I
think it
guess
was.
that's why
I
a
think
lot
it
of
was
good
a
movies
really
got
good
made of
idea
it.
to place them in that, and just
Yeah.
like in the war, like that was, and it's like the movie focuses so much on like small side characters. Like you got little
Like the
subplots
captain.
with side characters. Yeah, the captain and like
Hmm.
the prison runner
We're
guy.
talking about
So
number
many.
three right now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
All
talking
right,
about
yeah, because you kind of just drifted from like everything to the third, kind of abruptly.
yeah.
All right, yeah, let's move on.
Well, we're here
Okay.
now. We've
Yeah, we're
arrived.
here now.
We're here.
Right,
So
number
this is
three.
it's an epic film. Well, in terms of length and scale, it's much larger
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
concept than any of the other ones,
Mhm.
which
This one is
And I
fat.
think that helps it like this type of movie needs to be big. You know, like this would
it
not
is.
have worked if you shrunk down the scale at all. Like it needs to
Yeah.
be as vast as it is.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And here's the thing that really makes this movie, okay? And the other movies are great too, and I love them both. But those movies don't have Tuco. This movie is just the Tuco show, and he is amazing. Ellie Wallach's
Such a
portrayal of him
dick, but still a good
so
character.
fantastic.
Uh-huh.
He's like a flamboyant like Mexican guy,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
so funny and entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
And his constant like twists and like jumping of sides, like there's that scene, there's like all
Yeah.
sorts of. It's like Blondie, I'm your friend, Blondie. Like
Yeah,
it's
like
so
when he's
good.
just
Yeah.
nearly made him die of thirst. He's like, "Oh, I'm your friend."
Yeah, I'm your
And he's
buddy.
like, in my place,
You
I would
ass.
do the same thing. Like it's so
Yeah.
funny. It's so
Yeah,
good.
I love his character in that. It's
Yeah.
great.
He's such like a
Character in any of these movies.
he takes
so
that idea of like only in it for the money and he takes it up by like a factor of 10.
Yeah.
He's just so like
The movie's
I'll-
kind of like that portrayal of like the
Yeah.
good and the ugly of humanity, and
yeah,
Tuco's
true.
definitely the ugliest.
Like
for
I'll
sure.
just
Yeah.
I'll do what I don't
Yeah.
care who I have to side with, what I have to do.
Switching sides, murdering. Here's a fun fact though. Because I watched Chris Stuckman has a video where he talks about this, and that video is really good. And I learned some stuff about like
Yeah.
what happened and set stuff. But one of the things, one of just like an interesting snippet, I guess, is that like the bad actually has the least amount of kills in the movie. He only kills like 3 people. The
Mhm.
ugly is
Huh.
second, and the good is first. Which
Yeah.
That's kind of
is-
ironic, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. And I feel it feels like
But at
that's
the same
intentional.
time, you can't argue like the names they're given are still accurate. Like I wouldn't call
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood the bad. Like it's, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, and yeah, oh my god, fucking Lee Van Cleef's portrayal of the bad, Angel Eyes, his
So
like
good.
his
Man.
laugh, his maniacal laugh, his
Yeah, he was so-
like his manner of speech,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Like
The
yeah,
characters
basically.
really make this movie more than any of the other ones. The characters and the
Uh-huh.
like the actors really make this movie what it is.
Yeah.
You really get engaged. Like you,
Mhm. I really
care
really
about
like
them.
the 3 of them.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're a great
And-
trio.
Really sick.
We got to talk about like the last 30 minutes because it's
Mhm.
probably some of the greatest cinema out there. Seriously, the last 30 minutes of this movie are genuinely so flawless. Like it's
When they're
just
in the
perfect.
graveyard and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
the
last
graveyard.
scene
Yeah.
was what bumped up my score from like a 7 to an 8 because it was just so
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
That epic fucking Ennio Morricone. This is
Yeah,
my
the
favorite
music.
movie score ever. There's that epic what's it called? Ecstasy of Gold track playing
Yeah.
as he's running around the graves. Like
God.
so much excitement.
Ecstasy of Gold
Perfect
is so
scene.
good.
Then you get another perfect scene. All of the characters meet up. Then you get another perfect scene, the final duel, and you get the trio, that awesome track. And I love how the score, what Ennio Morricone does is like the tempo constantly rises until the very end where it cuts off and then the shooting happens.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
that is so good.
That whole
Yeah.
build up, I was like my heart was like pounding. It
Yeah,
just gets you
holy
so
shit,
like
it's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah, it's really sick.
It's
I love
That's-
that.
sorry,
part.
I love
Yeah.
I love talking about this movie.
Yeah,
It's-
that
No,
part
it's
is
great.
so sick. yeah, and the soundtrack
It's
in general is
great.
just so fucking cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
once again, I just
Yeah, and
the
then
score
yeah,
is
like so
so many,
much. Yeah,
so and it
like
When
all
I'm
heightens the movie. Like
yeah.
I don't even think this movie would be what it is without Ennio Morricone. His score
No.
is just
Yeah, and like yeah, the main theme is just like it's so well
yeah,
known.
the like
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
so good. It's
Peak the
such
mic.
like there's all those
yeah,
little memorable human voice motifs.
Mhm.
It's perfect.
yeah. Opposed to what other voices, Jackson?
Fuck you. But yeah,
And they're so
using these
like honestly, they're
an
so
instrument.
iconic that it like not a fault of the movie at all, but they're so iconic that hearing them almost took me out a bit because they're
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
well known. I was
yeah,
like,
because
oh
once
wait,
you
that's
see it,
from
you're like,
here.
oh, that's where that's from.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
But that's not a
Yeah.
problem in the movie. It's just like actually a
Yeah, it's
compliment to
just
the
kind
movie
of
for having
cool.
such a good score.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
how iconic it is.
Yeah,
It's
for
great.
sure.
I
I can't get
genuinely
over
have
that
no.
last scene. Just too good.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's so good.
Man.
And I like the way it ends. Everybody kind of gets what
Yeah, they
Yeah,
deserve.
like
it shows,
deserve, you know?
shows off names too,
Yeah.
which I like.
Yeah, they get what they
Like
deserve.
the
Overall.
bad he dies because he sucks.
Yeah.
Tuco, he kind of gets like he's alive, but he's also
It's
kind of
like the ending is very interpretive. You don't really know what
Yeah.
happens. It's
and I like that pretty much all three of them end with like the man with no name just leaving and like going
Yeah,
somewhere
he's
else
out
because
there, man.
yeah,
He got
it
his
is
money and he's going.
it adds to that feeling of like
Yeah.
all of these could be just separate adventures that he had in his life,
I
and
mean,
that's
yeah.
so
It's completely like yeah, it is. There are three different stories, but like yeah.
but you could
Mhm.
see how they
Mhm.
could easily connect.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what I
like
like about
I
them.
like
One
I
thing
do like that about
one thing I realize is that like throughout the three movies, the bounty, like the main bounty, like increases more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At
Like,
first he was doing
yeah.
it for like 10,000, and then he
Yeah.
which
Mhm.
back then would be like
Yeah. That's a
stupid
few
amount.
hundred. That's a few hundred
A lot.
thousand. Yeah, that's a few 100,000 back then.
I love the opening scene. I love everyone's opening scene, but especially the bad's
Yeah.
opening scene. That opening scene is so great.
Yeah.
What's his again? I watched it in
Like
two
there-
sittings.
Mhm.
He goes to the guy's house to find out about Bill
Oh,
Carson.
yeah.
Yeah.
That part. I
He's
want to talk
Yeah.
about that part.
That's so
There's
sexy.
a lot in that scene where like they're talking through the eyes and they're not saying anything. Like
Uh-huh.
they're just looking at each other, but you could tell what's going through each of their minds.
Yeah.
Sergio does best. He's perfect at making conversations that don't have any dialogue.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Mhm.
I liked that.
And and in that part too, I love Lee Van Cleef's just menacing look. He's such a good villain. He's
He's
such
just
a good
smiling
villain.
at him
Yeah.
because it's kind of like scary because it's like this guy walks in your house, he and you know at that moment that you're dead. Like there's nothing you
Yeah.
can do.
Mhm.
He's so maniacal. He kills the guy. He kills his kid, and then
Yeah,
he just
oh my
walks.
God.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
he kills the
just-
guy who paid him to kill the guy. Like
Yeah, because the other guy gave him money.
He took
like,
money
he is
from-
ruthless, man. Absolutely fucking
So
ruthless.
Like,
wait, you
doesn't
said
even-
you said he only has 3 kills. Are those his only 3 kills in the whole movie?
It's not. Yeah, I think I don't know if it's exactly 3. It's like 3 or
Yeah.
4, I think.
Because that's
Yeah, it's just
pretty interesting.
it's-
If he like
Yeah.
stops
Oh.
killing people 10 minutes in and just
Yeah, I forgot about the kid dying. I'm like, who's the other
I
guy?
was like, wow, they actually killed a kid right on screen.
yeah, they literally just like took him out, man.
That in a lot- he does that in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
his other movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I don't know. I don't have like a ton to say about it, but it's just kind of the ultimate western.
Yeah.
like it's just
Oh.
It's
Man,
quintessential viewing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and he
I think
mastered his directing technique there too. Like
Yeah.
with all his
Mhm.
style and everything like that is
Yeah.
perfect.
I think you
It's
gotta
so
watch
interesting.
that one.
I know it doesn't matter what order you watch them, but I think for the best experience, you have to go in chronological order because you
Yeah.
actually tangibly see his style evolving and like growing.
Yeah, it's really fun to see
And-
that.
Yeah.
So him improve his filmmaking.
Mhm.
I have this 5 out of 5.
Yeah. I
Good.
gave it 4.5 out of 5.
I gave it 4, but I can easily see it going up with repeated
Yeah.
viewings.
On a second watch, I was like, God damn, this is something really special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
special movie.
All right.
Like, I think in the moment I was kind of like, yeah, this is like a solid 7, solid 8. And then looking back at it now, I'm like, wait, that was actually a lot better than I'm giving it credit for. But I want to watch it again someday to fully
Yeah, watch it
develop
again.
my score.
That's my take.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
All right.
So good trilogy, good movies.
Good trilogy. It's very
You guys-
sick.
Topic.
Yeah. So
Wait, can we take a break? I'm gonna go get some water.
All right. We'll take a short break.
I'll be back in
I'll
a
do
minute.
it too.
Someday we'll put ad breaks in here. Someday we'll make it big.
I'm gonna get a drink as well.
Gotta watch this eventually, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I'll get a drink as well. I'll be right back in a few minutes.
All right.
Introduce the movie.
All right. This one's Forrest Gump, and it has Tom Hanks in it, and I don't know who's directed by. That's my intro. That's my intro.
It's directed by.
Who the fuck?
Robert Zemeckis.
Okay.
No, it's Robert Zemeckis. Everybody knows that.
True.
So silly. So
Off
silly.
to a good start. So,
I don't have a.
I feel ashamed.
It's all good. You gave it a positive score.
Yeah, he still gave it a positive score.
I gotta be honest though, this is just. I mean, not even that it's like not my type of film. It's just a very, very like Oscar bait movie. It's very.
I can see that. I guess I took the bait then, because I really did like it.
Yeah,
but
I
I
really
can see what you're saying easily. Man, I don't know where to begin. Tom Hanks is great. He's great in this.
I don't know. I'm kind of mixed, I guess. It took me a while. Like the accent is very, very over the top. The accent is very.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I guess I got used to it. But it was just weird that like everyone talked in that almost like stereotypical accent.
Yeah.
His was definitely like a little over the top, but I think it was good for the character. Like it suited him.
This
and
is
I
gonna.
really cared about the role.
Yeah, this is gonna be one of those discussions.
Oh
I'm not
boy.
Really, I don't like. I don't hate the movie really. There was definitely like I think one thing that's interesting to bring up is that there's been a lot of controversy over the film.
Yeah. I was thinking about like watching it again, so I was like looking at the Letterboxd score because I remember looking back at it like really fucking fondly when I was originally watching it. I go onto it and the top review is a half-star rating.
Dude, the reasons people gave it a half-star was like, oh, let me rant about this for a sec. All right, I'll be quick.
All right, yeah.
People were saying that the whole movie is propaganda because Forrest basically does what he's told, and everything good happens to him.
Which I mean isn't really true.
Jenny does like what she's not told, and bad things happen to her. Which a couple things on that. First of all, Forrest's like everything good happening to him is obviously in a small part supposed to be comedic. Like the fact that he accidentally gets like sent to play ping pong in all those other countries, that's obviously comedy in a way.
It just makes it for a good story. It just makes for a good story.
B, just because something happens to the character doesn't mean that the director is saying do this too and you'll be good. And C, Forrest literally basically spells out the point of the movie at the end when he talks about destiny and like how you kind of make your own destiny.
I don't totally disagree with either your side or honestly I think that is an interesting discussion to have. Either way, I don't think anyone I don't think most people who are working on the movie had any intention to make something propaganda-ish.
Yeah,
but the way it comes off to me, I kind of felt that sometimes, like the way. And I don't think that was the writers or Robert Zemeckis or Tom Hanks's intention, but just like the way I think there's a point to be made there, and not that I totally agree with it because I think that could really just be reading too far into it. I honestly found myself laughing at other parts of the movie, not the comedy, but
not that it was like laugh out loud, but like it's not. It's kind of clear that you're not like him saying, "Oh, I want to play ping pong," and then being sent to like nationals. You're not supposed to be like, "Oh, so if I do what I'm told, I'll go to nationals too." Like it's clearly kind of
I could see why people would.
I can see why you'd say that, but like I don't know.
It's very very like, oh yeah, this is my self-insert fantasy. I'm carrying everybody out of the war and I'm saving everybody's life. Like I could see how that's like like someone, another one of the other top comments is like, this is some kind of weird conservative fantasy, and I definitely get that angle.
I don't.
It's just more of a it's just like, you know.
I definitely don't want to come off as a conservative because I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But I do like this movie, and I wasn't even like I didn't even consider any of that stuff until I read the reviews, and I was like, how did people get that from this?
Yeah.
Thinking about it more, I kind of understand how you can get that, but like calling it blatant propaganda, I think is a bit much. You know, like it's.
I agree, it's too far. I had a discussion with my dad because he does not like this movie at all, but we were kind of talking about like what kind of the movie was trying to say, like what the message of the movie it is, and how just kind of unclear, you know, because it's kind of I kind of thought I was like, oh yeah, because the message of there's not really a super clear message, and it's I guess you could say perseverance or something baby that. But like and that's why I can understand why this movie isn't really trying to say anything, and that's why a lot of people
I mean, does every movie have to say something though? Like it kind of is just a nice story.
Think every movie does, but also it's really just unclear what it's trying to say, and that's fine if you're making like a Charlie Kaufman movie, but when you're making like a Forrest Gump movie, it doesn't really translate, you know.
Honestly, I didn't really see the need for a point in the movie. I just really
let's talk about the politics. I really don't care about that.
It's not a political thing. I don't think
people are trying to make it political.
People are definitely trying to make it political. I mean,
get all art is political, whatever, but I don't think that was the intention of
I was like, how do you I saw a couple of those reviews saying like, "Oh, this is blah blah blah," and then I watched the movie and I was like, "Where? Like, where does it? Where is any mention? Like, I get it, but I also was just kind of thinking like, you have to notice it enough that you're like, no, I'm giving this a half star. You have to be a pretty cynical person.
I think
giving it a half star just because the movie is kind of unclear about what it's trying to convey. I don't think it's really justified.
I don't think you can say that this isn't a political film because it definitely has politics, you know.
Yeah, and if anything, it's a more like liberal film because there's a part where Forrest Gump talks about how the Vietnam War is bad. Like even though you
can't really hear it too much, but like
well, he.
Right.
Yeah, actually, that's
people
true.
Definitely take it another way, and it's kind of I don't know.
Let's
talk about the actual movie. Let's talk about the actual movie.
Yeah, I like it.
One last thing.
Yeah, go on.
I'll drop this after this, but I also feel like calling it a political movie is kind of weird because Forrest Gump doesn't give a shit about politics. He doesn't even know what politics are.
It's it's more of like an objective standpoint on the politics.
Yeah,
I think.
The character. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird how divisive it is. Like,
it's not trying to. I don't think.
It was such like a divisive movie.
Yeah,
but
the movie. I don't think the movie's trying to pick a political side. It's just trying to like show what was going on back in the late '60s, early '70s.
Is that it's maybe it does come off some way, but that I don't think.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'm done with this.
My
discussion.
favorite part of this for sure was like how ridiculous some of the things that Forrest kind of accidentally did were. Like he discovered Watergate. Like that was funny.
Yeah.
It's just like he actually sees from a or what was the other one? I don't remember. But like there were a couple moments like that I thought were pretty good because it's like it's lighthearted, right? It's not. I mean, not all the way through. There's like the Vietnam scene is.
It's tonally it's weird. Like it really, I call it an Oscar bait movie because it is really trying to pull for those heartstrings. You know, with like
on me.
Man, that shit fucking worked, man. That shit fucking worked.
Like it didn't work for me. Like I was just like, this is so cheesy. Gosh.
I mean,
I guess cheese is my.
And then he starts talking about like destiny, like oh my god.
It
fucking tell me about Destiny. Okay.
Once
Yeah,
I
I
was already
was-
that far into the movie, the realization that this is cheesy kind of was worn off. So I was just
Yeah.
like, "This is so nice." I
I
just
don't
kind
really-
of gave
yeah.
into it.
I don't really care about the cheese, honestly. I was just like, oh man, yeah,
I
it
just-
kind of hit me.
That
Like
was a little bit manipulative, honestly.
it was a
Like,
bit, it was kind of fucked up.
especially the score is very overbearing, and I really didn't like the score at all.
The
I thought it
score?
was just really irritating.
Like the
Yeah,
like,
it's all like those sappy violins, and like, yeah, we get it. Your movie's Oscar bait.
yeah.
Okay.
It's yeah. I didn't see much in the score of it. It's more about the soundtrack. I feel.
The soundtrack
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
the songs chosen are good.
Yeah.
They got
It's-
they did choose some good songs.
They
And I
got
guess
some
it's
bangies in it.
a movie.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I really like the story structure of having him, because like it's another movie where I think narration works pretty well,
Mm-hmm.
hmm
but just it really just goes off the rails at the end and really just
Yeah.
loses that structure
Yeah.
and really and it just lost me at that point because
That last period
Yeah.
of his, well, not last period, but that last chunk of his life is kind of rushed, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it did feel a little
weird
rough.
because the whole movie is built off that structure of him telling a story, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's
Mhm,
gonna end
yeah.
with finishing the story, and then he leaves and the movie goes on for like another 30 minutes, and I was
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
such a weird choice. Like
Yeah,
you've lost all
it's
structure of
kind
the
of
movie.
it's kind of strange because it like starts as like seeing pop culture evolve through this guy's eyes, and
Mhm.
then
And then
you-
it goes to
yeah,
his
and then it kind of
story
just goes into
specifically.
more of a personal thing.
hmm
Yeah,
I kind of this didn't happen, but I thought it was going to. I thought they were gonna do like more and more people start crowding around him to listen to his story, and by the end he's got like a full audience all listening to what he has to say.
yeah,
God,
I'm glad that didn't happen.
But I was
Yeah.
like, is that what they're going for? Because then like more
Yeah,
people
I
started
like
moving
the
down.
real world segments because like
Yeah.
it was very real. People were just like not interested and just like left.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
especially
good.
at the beginning, there wasn't really much, of note that they
Yeah, he
were
was
like,
just talking about his childhood, and the woman was like, "All right, my
Mhm.
bus is here. You freak. I'm leaving."
Oh yeah,
but-
and the first like 20-30 minutes, I found it so laughably like corny and cartoonish. I was like,
it was
oh my
it
god.
was pretty corny. Yeah, I was looking at some of the reviews, like apparently, like according to some person, one of the top reviews, they said that their favorite part was the first
Yeah,
half
I
hour
don't
where the
even know
guy's
how.
like leg
that is-
breaks.
So stupid.
Yeah, where like
And
the,
then there's like those like 30-year-old school bullies chasing him around in a car.
Mhm.
And I like
and
how
then
every
he outruns a car
every
for a bit.
time-
yeah.
time they cut to a new shot, the car is farther back. Like, don't you love
Yeah.
it when movies do that?
No, it's.
Yeah.
I think it's more. It's. I don't think it was supposed to be a realistic thing there. It was definitely supposed to be
Oh, yeah,
It's
exaggerated.
also kind of
It's not a
it's
realistic
like
movie, but just
Yeah.
that's
his
just
imagining
crazy
of it.
more than anything else. And I like,
The-
especially that just irritated me when a character's being chased in a movie, and like every time they cut to a new shot,
Yeah, because
character-
it looked like the car was
Yeah.
gonna like fully hit him.
yeah, and
But
just
then
like
he-
10 feet ahead of it in the
Yeah.
next shot.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I think it's.
the scene where
I
his like
understand
leg
These
braces
things
shatter
like
was
that
Mhm.
really take me out of a movie.
the scene where his leg braces shatter was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I also thought like, wait, doesn't he need those? Isn't this gonna give him like severe health problems? But it never
Yeah.
did.
It just never. Yeah. It never does
I
anything
mean, if
to
you're,
him.
if you're gonna say like you can just buy that he would do all this crazy shit. I mean, I didn't really care that
Yeah.
he could run after his things broke off. Like,
yeah,
it's
no,
a-
it was some,
Yeah, it was
that
more of
wasn't-
a it was really more of a
Okay.
setup, just like for the whole football career kind of thing going on.
yeah.
I don't think it
Emotional
was supposed to be like,
in
oh,
person.
look at Forrest, he can run fast. It's more of like, it just like kind of goes
yeah,
into the
I
story.
get that's it was supposed to be uplifting, but like it's just because the tone is just so everything about this movie just kind of feels unclear to me, and so like when Bubba dies, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I don't
Wait,
know.
I totally
What-
forgot about this. I might be the only one that thinks this out of this group, but Lieutenant Dan I love that character, man.
No, I agree. I
guess
like
it's
I
such
like
a-
seeing him evolve.
Alright.
Yeah, his arc was great,
Yeah.
and like how he just I know it was kind of you could say it's corny how he
Yeah.
kind of like
Part
oh
at
I
the end
found
was
peace
really the part at the end was really testing me. I liked most of them though.
like
Like the
what
part
where he
where
got
shows
his
up with, like a titanium legs, and he's got like all his crackhead makeup off. Like I was like, okay,
well he got
Yeah.
got back on his feet. It was like I
Yeah.
like the scene where they're on the boat and he just kind of like swims off. I was that was nice.
Yeah. I think
like it.
I think it's I like it. Honestly, I think it's kind of just
there's
one of those
still
things.
more to get into for me. I think
Yeah.
I have a
Uh-huh.
few more things to say because
Yeah.
I understand I've been very negative this whole time, but there's some. This movie's very well shot and framed. There are a few shots in particular that I was like, damn, this is really well framed and really professional. Whoever they hired for cinematography really did quite a good job, and I was pretty impressed with that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I was connecting to the story like half and half of the time. So
Right.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
think it's just kind of a. Yeah, I think honestly, I don't really like to. Yeah, I think we kind of got different things out of it, like me and Callum, and then you, Jackson.
Yeah.
We definitely
I don't
got
know,
different
like,
things about it.
I definitely there's some movies where you see something that's corny and you're like, yeah, that's corny. But
Yeah, I
and
think
you
this.
looking like in retrospective, I can easily see how there are a lot of
Yeah.
those moments in that movie. But while I was watching it, I don't
Mhm.
know what I just kind of got absorbed enough that they didn't
Yeah.
really bother me, you know?
Yeah. Like it's definitely a corny movie. Like there's no doubt
Yeah,
about it. But like, I just kind of like it. I think it's just
yeah.
a fun story. I just
It's a
really think
comfort
it's a
movie,
fun
kind
story.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it is a comfort movie. But then when they
Mhm.
try to pull at the heartstrings, it doesn't work for me because it's like I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
mean,
really
Yeah,
care that much.
yeah.
You really not made me
Yeah. It
any like
definitely.
there are any consequences in this world. So like, why should
Mhm.
I really care?
Yeah, really,
Right.
I think it's just one of those things where it's more of an easy viewing kind of thing.
yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
not one of those movies where you want to look at it in a
Yeah,
critical eye.
I could probably watch it. Actually, I don't think I would watch it again. I don't know. I'm being super negative, but
Yeah.
I genuinely do like the movie.
Mhm.
I do think it's a decent movie.
Uh-huh.
I have a lot of things that I had in my head
Yeah.
that I would say
Yeah.
about
And
it.
if me
But
and Zane are already talking about all the things we like, then there's no
Mhm.
point in just,
yeah,
might as well
Right.
we all get a balanced
Yeah.
perspective of
yeah.
Yeah,
goods
definitely.
and bad.
Yeah.
I give 3 out of 5.
Mhm. I give
I
four and a
originally
half.
gave
I
it.
can't believe this one over Pulp Fiction, by the way, at Oscars. That is just some
I can't
fucking
comment
Yeah,
on that.
I I completely agree. Pulp
fuck.
I
Fiction. Pulp Fiction is way better than Forrest Gump, but like, yeah.
So,
uh
I really
I
like it.
originally gave it a 5 out of 5, but I've kind of in like not just during this a couple days ago I thought of this, but I kind of switched it to a 4.5 now.
Mm.
But it's
all right.
like a high 4.5. It's
Yeah.
good. Solid
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's just it's one of those movies where it's more of an easy viewing experience. It's not
Yeah.
not something to
Yeah.
look through like a critical eye over. It's
Yeah,
just
I get why people like it. I can say
yeah,
that.
it's
for
one of those it's just one of those things. Just like it's a fun story about a guy living in the 1960s and 1970s through pop
Just
culture
doing
and whatnot.
shit. Yeah.
Right, major historical events of the latter 20th century.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
solid movie,
sure.
solid movie.
Of the 70s, let's talk about an
Yeah.
80s album.
A 70s
How
album.
was that
A
speaking of the
1979 album.
70s? I thought it was 80s.
No, 1979.
I
1979.
had it all set up. Well, I have chosen. This is a really bad choice because
yeah,
it's a very
Why?
consistent album, so I don't have a ton to say about it.
yeah, it's one of the.
It's
yeah.
okay because it'll balance out how long we've talked about everything else.
Yeah.
That's
hmm
Breakfast
quick
in
switching.
America, which is a classic, synth pop, synth rock album.
By
Yeah.
Supertramp.
By Supertramp. You probably know like a good 3 or 4 songs.
You
Yeah,
know
I heard a couple of here that I was like, oh, I know that song. I've heard that before.
Yeah,
It's a terrible choice because I don't have a lot to say about it. I
Mhm.
just think it's a
Yeah.
really great album and it's very
It's solid all the
consistent.
way through.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I think once like a lot of the songs are so fucking like memorable. I know
Every song hits for
Yeah.
me.
every song.
hits.
Yeah, I definitely
Especially
think.
the first like 4. God damn,
Yeah.
those songs are.
I think the
great.
first 5, honestly, maybe even the first 6. I think 7th, 8th, and 9th tracks aren't like they don't hit
Yeah.
me as hard as the like.
They're
That's the
still
first
great,
half.
but they don't hit as hard. I think
Yeah.
it has a very stacked front.
Yeah,
I guess.
and then the last song. Oh my god, man! Yeah, that's when it comes back, and then, in my opinion, in my fucking personal opinion, there.
Also, can I just say I really like the album cover? It's like
Yeah,
American
Kinda really good
consumerism, like
yeah.
just shown in one image. It's good.
Mhm.
It's
But
like
yeah,
Statue of Liberty, but it's
Yeah.
but it's a waitress and all this thing. Wait, let me double check before I say this. But I
Yeah,
think
it's
all the
yeah,
buildings in the background are like stacks of plates.
yeah. It's all utensils.
Really? I
It's
didn't
all
notice
yeah,
that.
it's
Yeah.
all made of utensils and whatnot.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
it's like very
Utensils
yeah
and pots and whatever. It's really sick. I like it a lot.
Oh yeah, Take the Long
banger.
Path is great too.
Yeah.
A lot of great songs on it.
Yeah.
It's super consistent. There's never a point for me that it's like, okay, this sucks. Like it never
Yeah.
dips really low.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Like it's one of
This
those
is why,
yeah.
this is why I shouldn't have recommended it.
Yeah.
Because there's really
There really
Same.
isn't much to talk about because I think we were talking about KG earlier, right? And it's one of those songs where it's one of those albums where it all basically blends into each other. This one,
Wait, you mean LW?
yeah, LW, sorry, LW, fucking
Yeah.
it blends so far like into each other. This one, I definitely a lot of the songs sound very similar, but
this time
Yeah.
it's good.
yeah,
There's not
it's
even left to say.
yeah, it's in a
Mhm.
better way than in LW.
I think it's like a good balance between similar and distinct enough that
Yeah,
it doesn't get too
yeah,
boring.
they're
It's,
definitely yeah.
Yeah,
'cause-
each song is the same kind of.
yeah, it
synth.
has it's very similar in like what it sounds like, but the actual songs, like
about
the melodies and like the keyboard intros and whatnot, they are all really distinct. They all sound the same, but they don't go the same. I guess I don't know what that means.
I
They
know
don't,
what you
you know.
mean. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
sorry I picked this.
It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely
It's-
fine.
It's refreshing sometimes to
Mhm.
have a pick that isn't like some divisive, think
Yeah.
piece. It's just like a good,
Yeah.
solid album. That
It's
Yeah,
just
sounds
like,
good.
it's a
like-
good
Like
thing.
a classic rock album. It's just like a pop. It's just
Oh
a fun
my
pop album.
Yeah.
Like,
We need to try and
We gotta
diversify
go
our
back to
genres.
Yeah, this is this is just one of those albums where I feel like all the songs could basically just be hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Some are clearly more hits than others. Like
Yeah.
Goodbye Stranger, I was like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, going into it, I listened to the first time like with my family one time, and I recognized basically tracks 2 to 4 and then track 6. Just
Gone
like-
Hollywood is underrated. Honestly.
Gone
That song
Hollywood is
great.
honestly like it's a top 3 song of the album for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the other 4 of the songs on this album I knew about, and like I wasn't even that familiar with like 1970s pop either. Like
Yeah,
it's
well,
just,
the
yeah,
songs are-
they're
I don't
just
know,
like so well known, and it's just
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I don't know about you guys, but I have nothing left to say.
yeah.
Do
There
you
really
ever-
isn't not much to like. There's not too much to say about this album. It's just solid,
Isn't that kind of interesting that when we all think something is good, it's the shortest segment?
Yeah.
There's only
Yeah.
a few ways to say this is good. Like,
Well, no.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, overall, this album really isn't like super like, there's not like some big theme or anything. There's no like huge.
They're
like,
just jams.
yeah,
jams
they're-
all the
they're
way.
and
just
I think
jams.
there was a little bit of like.
Well, yeah, they
Yeah.
like
in
the
there.
songs have concepts.
Yeah,
but-
Yeah.
the songs have concepts lyrically. Yeah, like conformity and whatnot.
Mhm.
American
And,
consumerism is like
exactly.
the big theme
Yeah.
in the, the thing. But yeah.
I didn't even read into that. Tell me more.
Yeah, Logical Song is about conformity. Like, you can read the lyrics. I don't know them off of my head, but like you can read them, and you can definitely. It's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, conformity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
Deep
right. Well, I'm
analysis.
gonna
Yeah.
give this a 4 out of 5. Or like
Yeah.
an 8 out of 10. I
Yeah,
really
I'm
like-
gonna give it another not another, but an equal 8 out
yeah.
of 10.
I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Closer
Ooh,
to
cool.
an 8 than a 7, by the way.
Put an 8. We'll all have the same rating.
Yeah, well, I'll go with an 8. We'll call it an 8.
All right. There we go.
Perfect.
Awesome.
We ended it off with a very
with a-
inoffensive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This was a nice episode. There wasn't too
yeah.
much disagreement.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like this
I
one a
enjoy
lot.
everyone. This one especially.
How long is this going on for?
Currently we're at 112, so this is the longest we've recorded for.
That's
well,
it.
but
112.
before we go,
Jeez.
Before we go, then, do you guys have your next recommendations?
I
The
do.
order is
I do.
the order. Zane has his album, and me and Callum have movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaxon, go first with your movie because I have a feeling I might know what you're gonna pick, and if you don't pick it, I'm gonna pick it.
Did not even think about it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I was literally thinking
I
about
think
it.
I know what Callum wants to
Yeah.
talk about.
I was thinking about my fucking album.
I will go ahead
Yeah.
and recommend American Psycho because I already
Perfect.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
I'm gonna pick a movie that I thought sucked. Malcolm and Marie, 2021, recent
I
movie.
don't want to watch that, but I guess I will.
Yeah.
Too bad. We're watching it. I'm gonna torture the two of you.
We're gonna watch it. All
Alright.
right. I was
This is punishment
yeah.
for
I
the
was
Akira
thinking.
episode.
I was just thinking about. Yeah, I was thinking about what I wanted to like do it just literally while we were recording this, and I remember, Callum, you said that you kind of wanted to get into Rush, like a few episodes
sure.
back, and I was like, I was just trying to pick between either Permanent Waves or Moving Pictures, and I think I'm gonna go with Permanent Waves by Rush on this one.
All right.
Because
I'm down with that.
yeah, well, no, I feel like Permanent Waves is kind of it's a good starter.
It's a good starter. Yeah.
You get a good idea of the albums that came before, and you get a good idea of the albums that came after. It's a good.
I'd like to do more Gizzard too. I want to talk.
Yeah, we can talk
There's
about
so much
that.
I want to do. I want to do more Pink Floyd. I want to do more Gizzard. I want to do more Gorillaz eventually.
Yeah.
We've got a long list of.
Yeah, that's
We should do an episode where we have a whole segment that's just about Gizzard. Like we go through the whole discography.
Isn't there like
Yeah.
isn't there like 15 albums?
that can
though?
be a 16 or
19.
17, I think.
Wait, if we're gonna do that, we should do like a special like that's all we talk about.
Yeah. We'll do
Just walk it down.
Yeah, like an episode something.
The Gizzard episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
we can-
anyways,
Yeah.
All right. We gotta plug our stuff.
Yeah, we gotta plug the shit.
plug our things. I put it
Alright.
in brackets.
Follow us.
Album of the year
Alright.
and like
Follow us on
Yeah,
Letterboxd.
and you'll see them in the
Follow us
description.
on.
Right.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
talk to us.
And
Follow.
talk to us,
Normally
you
I
know.
say. Normally we say follow Zane and
Lit.
Jaxon on
Right.
Twitter and follow me on Instagram, but I'm saying now follow me on Twitter because I'm
Hey.
kind of switching over my art account. I want to
Yeah.
make it on Twitter now.
Follow
'cause
my
Instagram
Twitter. I'm
sucks.
having beef with a guy named Jeff right now.
Yeah, horny
Yeah.
Jeff, right?
Yeah. It was
Follow horny Jeff on Twitter.
Yeah, follow Horny Jeff, but also follow me more importantly.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck
Well,
you, Jackson. Get the fuck out of
Alright,
here. I
let's-
heard you trying to say don't follow me. Get the fuck out of here. Okay. In terms of the movies, watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly if you want to watch any of the Dollars trilogies movies.
Yeah, if you're picking one movie out of
Yeah.
this whole podcast to watch, pick that one. It's
yeah,
good.
pick that one for sure.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Watch Forrest Gump if you want. You know, if you're a Zane head, definitely watch.
If you're a Zane- yeah.
Forrest Gump.
Liberal.
Zane heads.
Yeah.
Zane heads
Zane heads.
unite to watch
What did I
Forrest Gump.
call? What did I say in that one episode?
Were you
What did I call my
Jay- Jay, I don't even remember.
You were like, I want to
J-
say it was J Dollars,
Yeah.
$8? All right, I'll
That
go with
sounds
J
like
dollars.
it.
but I'm not sure.
Dude,
J
J
Dollar.
Dollar, maybe watch Forrest Gump if you're a Callum fan.
Thank you.
We can't say the forbidden name. Yeah.
Thank
If you're-
you.
if
I'd
you're
rather
a-
have Callum
If
fan.
you're a fan of Callum,
Yes.
if he is your favorite character, definitely watch.
Character.
Yeah, character. If
I'm a
he's
human
your
being.
favorite character in this series, definitely watch Forrest Gump. And we all
Yes.
recommend you listen to Breakfast in America because it's just a solid album the whole way through. Yeah.
We're all
listen
we're
to
all
it.
playing characters. These aren't actually our real
Yeah.
opinions. We're all just
Uh-huh.
None of us
acting.
are real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
We're just AI.
Yeah, we are AI. You didn't know that. Also,
don't exist.
if any of you guys have questions, you can leave them down in the YouTube comments. So far, we've got 0, and we've had to come up with all of them ourselves.
We say it every
But-
time.
Yeah, we
baby.
say it every
Yeah.
time.
What do you
Also,
got?
if you have, this has only happened twice, which is 2 more times than I thought. But if you have fan art, send that because
Well, I
that's
mean,
sick.
technically once because it was one guy, but you know.
Well, he sent us 2 drugs. So
True.
that counts as
True.
twice.
Very true. If you
But
have
if you
fan
got-
art,
Let's finish off with.
let's finish off with a hilarious joke.
Do the Quaaludes bit. I think.
All
I think
right.
you should do. The
I gotta
Quaaludes
pull this up.
How do we pull it up? Oh, the big man.
I'm definitely not going to do the whole thing, but you know.
bit. Yeah, do the Quaaludes bit.
All right. Hey, the big man's back.
He's speaking the mic.
www.thekidfrombrooklyn.com. No, you can hear me. You can hear me because I'm the one recording. You ever seen those signs on the highway, billboards years ago? I'd walk a mile for a camel. Well, they used to have the cigarette commercials. The guy used to say, I'd walk a mile for a camel. Well, let me tell you, all you young people up there, the big man would walk 20 miles for a Quaalude. Let me tell you. That was the drug back then in the late 70s and 80s. Quaaludes, the good old roar of 7